All right, let's jump right in. We're going to unpack the big ideas from Morgan Housel's fantastic book, The Psychology of Money. And the idea at the heart of it is, well, it's kind of simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Getting wealthy has way less to do with how smart you are and a whole lot more to do with how you act.
And we're going to start with a story that pretty much flips everything we think we know about money right on its head. How in the world did a janitor, a guy with zero financial background, manage to secretly build an $8 million fortune and then just give it all away?
So, to get to the bottom of this, we're going to look at two guys whose lives couldn't be more different, a humble janitor and a high-flying finance executive. Their stories, when you put them side by side, reveal something really surprising about what it takes to build wealth. Okay, so on one side, you've got Ronald Reed. He spent his life fixing cars at a gas station and sweeping floors as a janitor. On the other side, Richard Fuscone, Harvard-educated, a top exec at Merrill Lynch who made so much money he retired in his 40s. One lived a super simple life, the other lived this huge, lavish life, but it was all built on a mountain of debt. You'd think you know how this story goes, right? But you'd be wrong. So wrong. When Ronald Reed passed away at 92, people were shocked to find out he'd quietly built up a fortune of over $8 million. How? He just saved what little he could, put it in solid blue-chip stocks, and then he just waited for decades. Meanwhile, Richard Fuscone, the brilliant executive, he got wiped out in the 2008 financial crisis. The giant house, the assets, all gone. He lost everything. So here's the big takeaway, right? The most important lesson. Money isn't this hard science, like physics with unbreakable laws. It's much more like psychology. It's a soft skill. Ronald Reed won because he nailed the important stuff: patience, discipline, thinking long term. Fuscone, for all his intelligence and education, failed because his behavior, taking on way too much risk, blew him. But, our behavior, it's not the whole story. To really get a handle on money, you have to accept that there are these two massive forces that we have almost no control over: luck and its evil twin, risk. Okay, think about Bill Gates. The guy is obviously a genius, super driven, no one's debating that. But here's the thing, he also got an unbelievable break. He just happened to go to Lakeside School, which was one of the only high schools on the entire planet that had a computer way back in 1968. I mean, what are the odds of that? A teenager in 1968 getting access to a computer like that? Literally 1 in a million. That was his lucky break, the massive head start that let him and Paul Allen become programming wizards while most of us hadn't even seen a computer. But here's where the story gets a twist. Luck has a dark side. At Lakeside, Gates had a best friend named Kent Evans. Gates himself said Kent was the smartest kid in their class. They were completely obsessed with that computer, and they were already making plans to go into business together. But that future, it never got a chance to happen. In a tragic, random accident, Kent was killed while mountaineering before they even graduated high school. The partnership that could have been Microsoft or something like it was just gone. And the odds of that happening? Yeah, you guessed it. Also about 1 in a million. So you see, Bill Gates experienced 1 in a million luck. Kent Evans experienced 1 in a million risk. They're two sides of the exact same coin. The takeaway is that we should focus less on worshiping specific people and more on broader patterns we can actually control. So while we can't really control luck or risk, there's one thing we absolutely can control: ourselves. And that brings us to one of the most common traps people fall into with money, that dangerous, never-ending desire for more. Let me tell you about Rajat Gupta. I mean, this guy's story is just incredible. He was an orphan in India, and through sheer brilliance and hard work, he rose to become the CEO of McKinsey, the most prestigious consulting firm in the world. By 2008, he was worth about $100 million. He had it all, everything you could possibly need or want. But it wasn't enough. He looked at the billionaires around him and decided he wanted to be one of them. And that desire for more just sent him down this terrible path. He was on the board of Goldman Sachs, and he started leaking inside information to make a quick buck. The result? He got caught, convicted of insider trading, and sent to prison. He risked the things he had and needed, like his freedom and his reputation, for something he didn't have and absolutely did not need. It really all boils down to this amazing little story. The author Kurt Vonnegut was at a party with his friend Joseph Heller, who wrote Catch-22. Vonnegut pointed out that their billionaire host had probably made more money that day than Heller had made from his famous novel in its entire history. And Heller's reply was just perfect. He said, yes, but I have something he will never have: enough. And that's it right there. The hardest financial skill in the world is getting the goalpost to stop moving. Okay, so if we can avoid that trap of always wanting more, what's the actual secret to building wealth? It's not about being a Wall Street genius or taking crazy risks. No, it's something much quieter, much more powerful, and way more achievable for all of us. Okay, so take a look at this. Long-term growth it's amazing. But that line is anything but straight, right? It's just packed with recessions, crashes, and all kinds of chaos. The real secret to getting wealthy isn't about capturing all the upside. It's about survival. It's about making sure you can stick around through all the tough times so you're still in the game for the long haul. Look, we all know Warren Buffett is an investing wizard. Of course he is. But his skill, that's not the whole story. It's not even the most important part. His true superpower is time. The guy has been investing consistently since he was literally 10 years old.
Okay, get ready for this number because it is absolutely mind-blowing. Of Warren Buffett's total net worth, which is around $84.5 billion, an incredible $81.5 billion of it was earned after his 65th birthday. Just think about that for a second. More than 96% of his entire fortune came after he could have started collecting Social Security. His wealth isn't just because he's a great investor. It's because he's been a pretty good investor for an unbelievably long time. That is the magic of compounding. The lesson is crystal clear. Good returns that you can stick with for the longest possible time will always beat amazing returns that are just temporary. All right, so we've talked about behavior, luck, greed, and the unstoppable power of time. But what's the point of all this? Why should we even care about mastering our money psychology? Well, the answer is the single greatest thing that money can buy you. And trust me, it's not a bigger house or a faster car. This is it. The ultimate dividend money pays is control. Control over your own time. That's what real wealth is. It's not a number in a bank account. It's the absolute, unconditional freedom to wake up and shape your day and your life on your own terms. That's the real endgame: autonomy. The ability to use your money to buy back your time, to give yourself options, to build a safety net against whatever life throws at you. That provides a deep, lasting happiness that shiny new things just can't compete with. It's the real difference between just feeling rich and truly being wealthy. And that brings us to the final question, the one we all have to ask ourselves. As you go about building your own financial life, think back to the janitor and the executive. Are you using your money to buy more freedom, more options, more control over your time? Or are you just using it to buy more stuff? The answer to that question, well, that's the real bottom line.